Welcome to iPen Podcast, Interviews and Conversations. Here we bring entrepreneurs and their business to their audience and communities as well as ours. We welcome and connect with them to share who they are and what they do. Authors, entrepreneurs, we extend the invitation to promote your business here on our podcast and in iPen Magazine. Your article, your story, your promotions, how you can connect with others, a new audience, a quarterly magazine presented online for all to view and subscribe to. For articles, ads, and subscriptions, please contact ipendesigns@gmail.com. For your viewing, you can see past articles, past interviews on www.NanetteMBuchanan.com. Welcome to the show. Hello. Good evening. My name is Nanette Buchanan, and this is iPen Visions, Interviews and Conversations. It is our podcast. We try to connect community, entrepreneurs, authors, business folk, average folk to see what they're doing, what's their vision, where they're going, and how they got there, and their journey, basically, because you could be on top one day and on the bottom the next day. So we want to show you how to be uplifted. We want to show you how to continue on. And we know life be lifing. So we want to talk to people that have gone through some things in their life that have made major changes in the journey that they have. Before we get into our guest tonight, who really has a lot to tell us about his journey, I want to talk to you with my co-host, Felice Reeves. She's in my life journey. So, when life be life, and I just call her up and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. And she kind of says, yes, you do. You're just on the wrong path. Get on this road, so everybody needs that support system. And Felice is mine. So, hey, Felice, how are you, dear?
Hi, beautiful. And, it's a different time for us and I love it. And I'm glad you brought up that mantra, life be lifing. And I hate that we only use that if there's a challenge, because
right.
Really life be lifing when it is good, and we need to concentrate on that. And
right.
For those of us that follow our God, life be eternal lifing if we're doing it right. So
if we're doing it right. And not only that, we have to realize that along the way, sometimes we have to make reflections. And I think that our guest today is about reflections. Sometimes there are people, and I want to pre-warn our audience that there are people that can see beyond, and then there are people that can see the past. And sometimes where we don't want to look, these type people do look. Sometimes it could be your spiritual leader. It could be a spiritual person that you've gone to. It can be someone as simple as a child. I've been involved in many cases where children are, for the lack of better terms, seers. They see things that we don't always see. Sometimes they accept things that we don't accept until later on, because they see things. And if you are a spiritual person, you realize that your spirit sometimes works one way and your focus on today works another way, and you'd be like, what, in my spirit, I should have did that. But you don't always listen to the taps and listen to the reminders. And we're going to talk to a gentleman that goes deep into that type of thing, where he can pull out some of those things that you don't see, or some of those things that he sees within you. I always equated to the spiritual side to, and you've heard me say it before, Felice, the connection you get when somebody smiles at you and you smile at them, and then you wonder, why did I smile at that person? I don't know them. It's a spiritual thing that connects sometimes, where the spirit speaks each other.
And you're absolutely right in that, especially in you and I's relationship. Our spirits met first.
Exactly.
People, we've been doing this close to 4 years.
Exactly.
And we met each other in person only 3 months ago.
Exactly. So
3 minutes,
sometimes
4 minutes ago. But
we
yeah,
we have to
so
we have
right,
to rely on that. That
yeah,
sometimes the spirit speaks a lot louder,
hmm
but he
hmm
is someone who talks directly to the spirit.
hmm
He talks to
right,
those people that we sometimes, is that a ghost?
right.
Is that it?
And
And
before we go further in this, let me just say this because again, we need to speak life instead of death into all of our situations. And so when life be lifing, and you say that, then you say, God, show me how good life can be. So that's
mhm,
an affirmative that you're looking to not be in a current situation. But
mhm,
even in your good situations, God can show you that life is even better in His way, not how we conjure up how this could be better, but in His way, He'll show us
mhm.
that if we will yet call on Him and ask Him to guide us.
Exactly. And connect. We have to
Mhm.
make that
Yeah.
connection in whatever form that you choose. We have
hmm
to make that connection.
Uh, okay.
Without further
So my
ado,
my battery is low, so I'm gonna switch to my iPad at some point. So
okay.
I apologize that I ran off and left my
Ahead of
charger.
time. Ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. She's gonna dip out on us
So
one more
well, yeah. So
time.
I have my iPad already uploaded and ready to go. It might not have the
Okay.
background, but
All right. All right.
I
No
apologize,
problem.
people. But anyways,
No problem.
let's get to our guest.
Tonight's guest is Thomas Jones, and he's a prophet, a holistic therapist, and we want to bring him to the stage because we don't do that. We don't do that kind of stuff. So we're going to bring him to the stage so that he can talk about him for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's bring this gentleman on and give him his thanks and
Yay!
appreciation that he is here with
Hello,
us.
hello.
Yeah, how are you? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And to get this thing kicked off and started, because I'm quite sure people, want to know, well, what are they talking about? They're rambling on about spirits and everything else. What are they talking about? But I didn't want to go into it because this is about you. This is about your journey and what you do. So, Thomas Jones, can you please tell my audience who you are? Because we don't know. We won't do it the right way. So can you please do that for us?
I most certainly can. First of all, it's an honor to be on the show, so I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you for
Now
being.
let's get in. I want to get into some of the things I do. So my name is Thomas Jones, or better known as the Woke Prophet on social media. Just to give you a short story about my life. Things started for me back in 2015. I was involved in a devastating on the job accident. So through this accident, it sent me through a spiritual awakening, which I started to have visions of angels, the Most High God. Just started having a lot of unique gifts that started to develop. These gifts started getting very, very, very strong. Um, Through these visions that I saw myself removing demonic spirits from people, I saw myself healing people. And shortly after that, it all manifested, and I started doing that's the work I do now. So what I do now, I travel weekly, helping people with possession cases, exorcism cases, healing. And as I'm doing that too, I also help to wake people up. So when I say wake people up, to help to remove the scales off of people's eyes, because we've been told a lot of things that are not true. So
Mhm.
since I do have that ability to be able to connect and speak to the Most High, He's been revealing a lot to me. So I just bring that information to the people as well. I also like to teach and explain on different doors that individuals have been opening. So we do a lot of things throughout the day that we don't even know that we are giving Satan permission to our lives. So these things, these demonic spirits, they can only attack through an invite or invitation, which means you have to do something to open up a door. So through my work, I've learned different ways, and I learned these doors. So I try to come back and explain it. So in hopes that people won't open those doors, so they won't have to worry about these attacks.
Okay, well, I've got a few questions right off the bat because being and as well as you are an author, as well as what you do, other other ways you do write about what you do. But I have questions simply because we see these things on television as they're depicted as entertainment. We see them as okay, they had an exorcism, okay, they had a demonic possession, okay, they had a ghost in their house. I mean, on all different levels. We've seen it. This has become a form of entertainment, as opposed to us understanding that the background of that entertainment is based on someone's truth. I always say, one person's fiction is another person's reality. So, in a lot of cases, we have to then explain to people the reality that sits behind it. How do you explain the reality to someone who's going through some of the things that you have been addressing? How do you explain to them that it's real? How do you give them that real connection? It's the same thing that a minister does in the church. He's
Mhm.
trying to explain the realness in, the spirit within, or the spirit we need to attach to or pray to, or who we need to believe in. How do you explain to someone who's going through possession or going through a real sickness or going through anything, what the real connection is to maybe a spirit of the past, or like you said, the door opener to something
Right.
they should have never stepped into? How do you explain that?
Well, for me, it's not that complicated because people normally they seek me out, or let's just say, for example, they have dreams. So they may come and they say, "Hey, I had a dream. In this dream, God led me to you," or I happened to be Googling certain things and your name popped up, or I was on social media and your videos are coming up back to back to back. So I feel like I was led to you. So when they are finding me, on social media, TikTok or YouTube, or just going to my website or the book, they already have issues that they have different things that's happening that's going on. So
Mm-hmm.
I normally get most of the people that come to me, I like to say, are the ones with the extreme or the very unique cases. So these people have already been to several churches. They've been through exorcisms. I mean, they've been through a lot. Some of the most, on the average, they've seen 20 to 30 people, whether it's spiritual help, religious help. So they already understand that something is going on. So I'm able to identify exactly which spirits are attached to them. I'm able to give them the names of those spirits as well. And then I can explain the doors that are open. Now, when they come to me through these sessions, which is called a spiritual consultation / deliverance session, I'm able to connect with these demonic spirits, and I can command them to tell me how they're tormenting these people. So if you come to me and I'm saying, "Hey, I'm speaking to the spirit and it's telling me that it's blocking your money, it's blocking your finances, you're waking up with scratches over your body, you keep getting in car accidents." So of course people antennas go up like, "Hey, how would this guy know all of this?" So I can never say that it's really anyone that comes to me that's in doubt, because when they come, they already know something's wrong, something's off. So once I
Mm-hmm.
started talking and explaining things, and then we go through a prayer session to start lifting these spirits off of them. But I tell people and I explain people, like, deliverance is a process. A lot of people are looking for something quick, and that's how I see them running into problems. They're working with different people and they say, "Hey, pay me this amount of money and do this for a day or two, you'll be free." And it never works, and they're out of a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's layers to this thing. So I tell people, you never just have one demonic spirit. Each spirit has what we call a legion or an army that they can control, that's attached to them. This could be hundreds, this could be thousands. So throughout the session, I just normally give them maybe the top 3 or 4 strongest ones that I see, because we have to work with the time that we have, which is maybe most of the time 30 minutes. So,
So if you have the spiritual gift and awareness
mhm.
that's needed, and of course the person is at your bay, they're not aware of what's going on, why it's going on, or how it's going on. Do you find that once you have this spiritual gift and awareness, do you find that they're able to walk away and not have to fall back? Or do they need to acquire the awareness as well? Not so much the spiritual gifts, because God gives spiritual gifts, but the awareness. In order for me to believe, it takes some kind of in-depth connection. So how do they get that connection? Is it with you, or is it with their spiritual connection?
Well, what I do is not only I help to take people through deliverance. So the Most High God, Yeshua HaMashiach, works through me with this deliverance. I tell people when they see me doing healings or deliverance, I like to make that known that, I don't per se have these special gifts. The power is coming through the Most High God, and he's just using me as a vessel. But when I'm working with people and I'm helping to remove these spirits from the people, I'm also showing them how to strengthen their connection. So you're strengthening your connection by fasting. You're strengthening your connection by prayer, meditating, just the way that you're thinking. I tell people, look at it like this. Your thoughts, just think of a movie screen being in front of you. And everything that you think, it goes on this movie screen, and that's how your life plays out. So if you are a negative thinker, let's just say, for example, you say, I know I'm gonna have a short life, I'm gonna always be broke. You're projecting this on this screen and you're manifesting these things into your life. So my goal is to help to remove these spirits, to help to build you up strong spiritually through fasting, through prayer, and to also make sure that you are calling on the right name. That's been a huge problem. I know with religion, people follow different things, but at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're calling on the right source, because a lot of people, their prayers, where they think their prayers, they're wondering why their prayers are not being answered. Because they come to me all the time and say, I pray so much, but it feels like the prayers are not being answered. So I teach them it's certain things that they're doing wrong. It's certain things that they're saying, but we've been taught that is the right way, but it's the wrong way. So I teach them the right way, and this is how they strengthen their connection.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah, that makes sense. Encouraging faith and belief is important. I know that there are people who are dead set. Hey, I'm dead set because I was raised as this and I was raised as that, and we put a label on it and we put a thing on it. And I have my own interpretation of how, hey, if you think about it, if you think about the history of man and you think about what we've been taught and you break it down, faith and belief is the basis, regardless to what you want to call it, how you want to say it. You have to believe and you have to have faith in it. And if you have, like you said, if you put it up on that screen that this is my belief and this is my faith, then you have to have that mindset to that. How do we reconnect a person who has been disconnected?
Well, that's the thing. In terms of reconnecting, it's all about the fasting and it's all about the praying. I tell people, look at it like this. All right. So when we're communicating back and forth with the Most High, let's just say we have a telephone line, right? It's a long line. So for the ones who are not consistently praying and fasting, this line is extremely long. So it's like you're trying to have this conversation and it's so much distance, it's so much gap because you're so far. But once you start fasting and praying, that line gets shorter. So that line gets shorter. So you're building your relationship with the Most High. And as you build your relationship comes the protection, the clarity, everything just comes to strength. So the closer you are to him, then again, everything else starts to fall in place. So it all goes through this fasting and the praying. And as long as you're doing that, you will stay on track. But again, I run into people, and it's just something about trying to pull them away from that food. Even though 72 hours, I'm saying, is that food that good to you that you can't pull away?
Right.
You're dealing with demonic.
But let's be real though. Let's be real though. Do we honestly know? I mean, you read it in scripture, you read it in, whatever method of prayer you use. You read about the fasting, you read about, what it is, and you read about how it is. And what you don't really understand, I think one of the things that I personally look at is the fasting, especially as you get older or as you get more into, well, I got medication I got to take at a certain time, and I can't take that medicine without a certain, you know what I mean? There's some things, some elements that come along with as you get older. I'm not talking about the young ones that are able to do whatever, but some people are on a regimen where I can't make that change. I can't make that, I can't make that change, because I think what we don't understand is it's not just not eating. And correct me if I'm wrong. Fasting is not just not eating.
Right.
It's got a prayer implement in it, and it's got a designated reason implemented in it. It's not just not having a meal. And I think that's where it gets turned over, because they're looking at it as a meal plan. Okay, I can't eat until 6, but until 6, you don't even pray. If I'm doing a fast for all day and then I'm going to eat at 6 in the evening, but you haven't prayed during that time. You haven't taken any of those moments within that time to pray. You have not taken any moment to connect. You have not done anything spiritual during the time that you're not eating. And I think that's I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where a lot of people don't understand the fasting portion of whenever you go into a fast. You're going into a fast not only to not bring in any exterior supplements for a certain amount of time, but you're also going into it to bring prayer in.
Right. Yeah. So I like to explain when I'm talking about fasting, explain to people. Fasting is of course, it's a sacrifice. So what you're saying is, I'm giving up food or whatever it is that you plan on sacrificing, but I'm doing this because I want to get closer to the Most High. Now, what I see people doing is, I've seen people say, hey, well, I'm going to fast for a car. I'm going to fast for a better job. And I tell people, you should be fasting to get a closer relationship. Once you have this relationship, all the other stuff will fall in line. Other stuff will come to you. Now, in terms of, okay, let's just say it's someone that has different illnesses that they're dealing with. They take medication, in which I've worked with, I've worked with people from the youngest being 17 months to the oldest being early 80s with the fasting. So when I give people certain fasts to do, so say, for example, if it's someone that they're on medication, I'll tell them, hey, this is a fruit, vegetable, and water broth. Fruit, vegetable, water, and broth fast. So you do this, you're doing this for 72 hours. And then I'll say, pray at least 3 times a day as you are going through this fast. And then they'll still tell me, well, I can't eat nothing. I can't eat. I'm like, well, is fruit and vegetables not food? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, is it not food? But, but again, they want the meat. They want the ribs.
Right. They want the big meal. Right.
The Golden Corral meal. I'm like, no, we're going to have to pull back from that for 72 hours, because this is a way for you to get clear. This is a way for you to be able to clear. It opens up your dreams. It's just a lot of benefits with it. It's a lot of great benefits from it.
What's the inspiration and purpose? I understand your journey. I understand what you do. I believe that the audience has an overall picture of who you are. But what's the I I can only imagine. Because like I said, I've been through my own journey and in battling some of the things that I've had to battle, I've considered, they're small, but then there are things that we battle that are large. Like you said, you had a major accident, and that's a large thing. You don't know. I think when we're faced with death, and I mean that literally, when we're faced with death, where someone says to you, "Hey, you got stage 4 cancer," and you don't understand what all the elements of stage 4 cancer are, your first reaction, as mine was, is, okay, how long do I have to live? And that immediately gives you an inspiration to do everything you can before you think you have your due date. You're trying to put in to some kind of shape. Let me straighten out my life. Let me straighten out my this. Let me straighten out my that. Let me do what I need to do to fix whatever I've done wrong. Let me be inspired to be better. So I ask you, in your transitioning or in your development of being this spiritual person who is now helping people, what was your first inspiration though? How did you know that that's what you needed to be or needed to do? What was your first, inkling that, hey,
Right.
this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right. I would definitely have to say during the time of the accident, like I said, it was devastating for me. It felt like every door was closing, every wall was closing. I mean, it was a lot going on. It was some bad times. So once I got in a position and I started being shown, hey, this is happening because of this. This is happening because of that. But every time it was the same reason. So I'm trying to figure out what the root of it was. So the root of it is the darkness. The root of it is Satan. So once I started having these visions and I started helping so many people in their visions, I started learning this stuff. And I saw as I learned and I was able to help myself, I was able to help my family. That was that was inspiring to me. And I'm saying to myself, hey, people just don't know. I'm watching these people out here that's suffering, they're sick, finances, everything is crumbling. So for me to be able to started working and helping people, and especially with the kids, helping them and just watching their lives turn around, yeah, that really just set my fire, because I'm saying people they just don't know. Yeah, they don't know. So I just wanted to really get out and get this information out, so that you could know. So of course, so that you can have and live a better life.
Right. So the purpose then that you're saying is it's to give to others.
Exactly.
What you thought you had lost.
Right.
It's to give to others. And I understand that totally, because as an author, I wound up asking, just simply asking, what am I supposed to do with this? I've done so many different things along my life, and now all of a sudden I'm hit with this. What am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
And from that, you're right. Your spirit speaks to you. You speak to the spirit. You kind of connect first. A connection maybe you didn't have before, a connection you do have. But it's all about, I think, in the journey, we're all talking about a change, a change for yourself and a change for others. Like you said, you noticed different things about you. What was one of the major changes that you think in your journey that you knew automatically, okay, I got to do it this way. This is just, there's no way around this. I got to do this.
Well, the way that the different obstacles and the things that were coming at me, and it was like it was never ending. So I said, hey, this is one of those situations. There's just no way out. And then I actually had a vision, and in the vision, Yeshua, he comes to me and he tells me, do you promise to always fight with me? And I was looking at him and I was thinking, and I was like, because that's all I know. I'm just hearing this and I don't know what it entails or what. But anyway, I said, yes, I promise. So there was a commitment that I made. So I made that commitment. So I said, hey, this is what I have to do. And I have this target on my back now. So there's no turning.
Yeah, because it's a must. It's a must. Yeah. Right. It's a must. Well, now the thing about it is, ironically, what you're talking about is something that the community really has a need to be. The community has a need to be inspired. Community has a need to understand they have to separate themselves from the demons that may be around them or the demons that are within them. And I hate using the word demon, but the thing about it is a lot of our battles that we battle are demonic. A lot of the things that we battle, trying to be the best that we can be, even for family. Sometimes within family, we have a demonic presence. People, I'll put it this way, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that a lot of people's trauma is the demons that they have. A lot of people's negative situations or what they step into are the demons that they have. Yeah, they may call it trauma, they may call it, they may call it other things, but I think that a lot of their problems and a lot of the things that they're dealing with have a negative tone, a negative overtone that could be a presence of demonic, demonic in nature. So how do you take the person that, and like you said, most of them have already checked you out, most of them have already referred to you. Felice and I are on the opposite end. We ain't going to nobody trying to remove demons and trying to talk to people on that end, but we are trying to get people to be inspired and to move into a realm of mindset change so that they too can be released from the traumas of the past. The traumas of mental illness, the traumas of alcoholism, the traumas of just having a bad day on the job and just don't know how to deal with some of the bad people that are around them. You know what I mean? Right. How do we give the community inspiration from your point of view?
From my point of view, first of all, let me say, I tell people this all the time. I said it's okay to be scared of this stuff. It's okay to be scared of demons, but on the flip side, being scared doesn't make it stop. It's not going to make it go away. And one thing about these demonic spirits, they don't stop. They don't. I mean, that's just their jobs. So I like to tell people, because we all get to a point, or at least most of us, a point in our lives is like, hey, I'm ready for a change. I'm tired of being single. I'm tired of not being married. I'm tired of not having money. I'm tired of bad health or whatever your situation is. But we all get to this breaking point. And when you get to that breaking point, I tell people what's the pushing force behind this. These are spirits. So you are being attacked. These spirits, they can manipulate you. And they will manipulate you. So you get to that point, it's something that can be done. And that's when the deliverance comes, shows its face, and the deliverance helps because that spirit is removing you. I've had a case one time, and I'm working with a person. And as I'm working with the person, because I'm able to see these spirits too. So I'm watching this demonic spirit, and it's laughing, and it's holding its hand over the person's head, and it's doing like this. And it's laughing, and it's telling me I can control them like a puppet. So as I'm talking to the person will contort and move. But what I'm trying to say is they can manipulate you physically, mentally. I mean, that's what they do. So when you're going through these issues, this alcoholism, these different addictions, again, these are all attacks. I tell people, sit back, pay attention to your family. You'll start noticing the pattern. Let's just say if you see that maybe on your mother's side, marriages are not lasting. Okay, we know generational curse. You're being attacked with your marriages, or with the poverty and the homelessness, not having jobs and homes, and you're noticing that okay, my aunt, the great aunt, the grandmother, all of these are generational curses. So when you start to see these things, these are things that you need to pray to break. You pray to break these things. But people just have to just slow down. Everybody's just moving fast. We are following the tradition. Most people are programmed. And I tell people, just take time and just really sit back, think about your words, and look at some of this stuff that's really in front of your face, because a lot of it does not make sense. But most people don't want to challenge things because I grew up this way. I was taught this way. I was brought up by the church this way. So all of it kind of goes hand in hand.
Right. So now, what do you think about mindset? Do you think that in just the journey that you just explained, like people having past trauma, having family issues, having this is the way it was, this is the way it is, this is the way it's always has been, this is what we do. Do you think that I don't know. I have a thing about madness. Madness plays a part, and sometimes it plays a part with you physically. But physically, we go to the doctor and we say, "Hey, this hurts. Can you fix it?" The one thing that even though we've had all of these, phenomenal doctors add to what is necessary, we can't deny the fact that a lot of it is kept within. We hold a lot of that stuff mentally, like well, mama did this and mama did that. Felice has a perfect example she uses all the time with a lot of our guests, is the example of the turkey, cooking a turkey a certain way. And no one ever asked why the grandmother cooked the turkey the way she did. She cut off the legs and the wings, and nobody asked why the legs and the wings were being separated until years later, where someone said, well, they didn't have a pot big enough to keep the legs and the wings in. So they just cooked the body of the turkey and they cooked the wings and the legs separate. Well, that's all a part of mindset. That's all a part of us learning who we are and who we're not. And a part of that too is believing in the spiritual assets as well. Well, why did grandma burn sage? Well, why did they do this? Or why did they, why did they pray this way? And why did they face the sun? And why did they leave the Bible open to a certain verse? And, all of that becomes a part of what we carry from generation to generation. But do you believe that if we begin with mindset preparation, that would help in some of these cases?
I definitely do, because this is something that when I'm talking to people, this is something that I express all the time. This right here, this head, this mind, it is the foundation. I've worked with several millionaires, and I explain to people that money, all that, it does not make a difference. When this goes right here, everything crumbles. Because without that mind, the foundation, you have nothing. So it's very, very important with your mindset. I mean, even when I'm working with people with healing, somebody can come to me, they'll say, hey, I'm having this issue with my leg. I want you to pray. Can you heal this? But as I'm looking at that person, I can feel that they don't really believe that they're going to be healed.
Exactly.
So I tell people it's something that you have to believe. And that's what I say. The mind is so powerful, and it will manifest these things. I mean, it really will. Like I was saying earlier, if you're constantly a negative person and just saying negative things, then you are forming your reality. So
right. And I want people to understand too that, you know, even though we're talking about possession, we're talking about demonic spirits, we're talking about what comes onto you, you have to realize that you sometimes manifest and hold on to them.
Mhm.
You take that in, just like you said, with conditions and everything. I can't even explain how many people I've had, even recently, that have said to me, well, you don't look like you've been sick. Well, I don't have to give you the all of the scans and all of the information to prove to you that I had this sickness. But in talking to a lady, she said, well, my husband had stage 4 cancer and he was gone within 3 months. What do you mean you had stage 4 and you're fine?
Right. Yeah.
And you have to explain to people, it's the inception of do I accept this? I only accept it if God says this is what it is, you know, and that relationship, like you said, having that spiritual relationship, having that belief, having that faith has what has sustained me. You know, it's just having the faith that if this is the way that he wants me to go, there's a reason for me going this way. Now let me delve into the reason. Well, the reason may very well be like you are, the voice to others that I overcame this so that I can help you overcome that. I help you. I'm in the position that I'm in simply because you're in the position that you're in. And people have to believe in that.
Yeah, that's true. I remember one particular time when I was praying, and it was just one of those moments when it was extremely heavy. The attacks just they were coming. We're talking about dislocated thumb, torn muscles. It's a lot that comes with it. So it was nonstop, and I just remember I was praying, and an angel came in and he told me. He said, because at this point, just to be real with you, I'm feeling like, is this punishment? You know, because this is crazy. Like, this is
right.
And the angel comes in and it tells me, it's saying, this is not punishment. You know, you are the sacrifice for humanity. So just hearing that, you know, I kind of changed my thoughts. I said, okay, I understand. I'm going to battle. I'm going to war for these other people. But it helped me out a lot because I said, now I understand why I'm going through the things I'm going through. I understand we're in a war, we're in the battle. So you are going to come out with bumps and bruises. I mean, that's just how it goes. You know, you're not going to go in a war and just come out just this type of war that I'm in, just coming out just with no scratches, no bruises, no nothing. So it doesn't go like that. So that just helped me to just understand it more. But yeah, again, that mindset is very, very important. Work with one lady, and it was a thing that she wanted to be sick. You know, she would just
right.
This, that, but she was doing that would bring on attention. On the other hand, I had another person I was working with. They were sick of it, and they were saying, "I'll be out of this wheelchair. I won't use these crutches." And now that lady, her condition got worse, and the other person, no crutches, no nothing, and like your situation, doesn't even look like they have been affected with anything.
Right. But you have to have a positive mindset. And a lot of people, when they have distanced themselves from prayer or belief or faith, when they have distanced themselves so far from it, they don't believe that getting closer to it is going to help. They don't believe that, you know, I was speaking to a young lady this morning and you know, we both said at the same time, just about, you don't have to be in the church for the church to be within you. You know, you don't have to be where the spirit is to know the spirit is there. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to be, you know, I don't have to be the Pope's sister to understand what the Pope is trying to say. You know, it's just a matter of where your mind is. And we have to, and that's one of the things that I understand totally about people that want to spread charm and spread love and spread this and spread that. But where is your mindset? Where's your mind? Because if you don't have the right mind.
So then, guys, you know, I apologize. know that there's some evil spirits working on
on your screen.
but I switched to my phone, and it all seems to be well now. I have a question, and please forgive me, if you just went over this, but for my edification, how do you feel about interceding? Because it seemed to me that as you are ministering to the people, those people are with you. But there are people that I know God calls us to pray for, lift up, to intercede on their behalf. Someone that can't see their way to even come to you, or to really, find the strength to fast and pray. Because I did hear most of the part that you said about fasting. But this the intercede for someone on someone's behalf.
Yeah, so interceding is fine. But one thing you want to be careful with in terms of prayers. So I tell people, first of all, when you're praying, we never want to hold hands. You never want to touch another person. People don't understand this. I see this happening all the time in the church, and that's why I work with so many people that are in the church, removing demonic spirits from them. Demons transfer.
Sure.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a pastor that's unclean and that's not right, and we got the people lined up getting prayers, touching, it runs back and forth. What they have in them can go in him, and vice versa, and it becomes a mess. You can pray for people, but I tell people, don't touch a person, don't hold hands. This is, again, stuff that we've seen on TV. We're so used to it, so we do it, and their problem can become your problem for that.
Yeah.
Something else when you're praying, I tell people it's almost like it's two different types of prayer. So if I'm just praying for a person's well-being and for clarity, that type of thing, versus I'm praying deliverance prayers. So that changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if I start, let's say if I'm praying for you and I'm saying, yeah, I want all of those demonic spirits to come out now and leave the body, it's changing everything up. So now what's happening is you're trying to remove demons from a person. So whenever you were trying to do that, they are going to come after you. So that's something that you don't want to get involved in unless you have a calling for it, because you need a certain level of protection for that. I've seen many times when people, they're saying this stuff on TV, this stuff online, get my book and I can teach you how to be an exorcist. I can teach you how to do this, but they don't show you how the person is 3 months later, have crazy inside the psych ward, because you just can't jump out here and start doing deliverance just because you're reading the book. This is something you have to have anointing for, you have to have protection for, and I can tell you, it is not a game. It's not a game.
And not only that, the thing about it is, you are so right. I've had situations where people have come into my home, and then different things start happening within my home. And I have to literally go into prayer to get it out of my home.
Sure.
And then recognize and understand that that's who brought it in. That okay, now we know where it came from. We know it wasn't here before they got here. And now it's here. There's a problem, and we need to get rid of that problem immediately. Immediately remove the problem, because if we don't immediately remove the problem, it's going to manifest into something larger.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because one issue that I see, that's why I say I try to constantly make videos and with my book, and just put the information out, because there's so many small things people don't know. One big problem, one big thing that most people do, they have no clue about. They have a welcome mat in front of their door. All right. When you have a welcome mat in front of your door, regardless if it's the front or the back, you welcome everything in, the good and the bad. So again, these spirits, they can't attach to you unless it's an invitation or an invite. Well, having that mat is an invitation, is an invite. I just had to go to somebody's home and had to remove spirits from that same thing. And the lady is looking like, I don't even know where this mat appeared from. It just came out of blue. She don't even know where it was at. I had another situation. A lady comes home from work and it's a brand new pair of shoes outside of her home. So she emailed and I told her, don't touch it. I'll come and get it. She said, what is that all about? I said, well, the spirits are attached to the shoes. So they were hoping that you would bring the shoes inside your home.
Inside your home.
Wow.
Inside your home, you would have bought all of the spirits. And because I was taking her through deliverance, so as I was removing them, they was trying to find a way to get back in. So they have a lot of different things that they try to do to try to get in. That's why I came out with the book, to try to help people. Because when I mean it's a lot of small things, and I could be here all day talking, and people just don't know.
And the thing about it is you have to get rid of it as soon as you recognize it. As soon as you see it, you have to get rid of it. I don't allow people that tell me what I can't do to be a person that I deal with. The minute that you tell me what I can't do, I'm done with you. You know, because that's something that, and it may not be demonic, but for me, it does not change my mindset. And I'm a main focus on mindset. If I have a mindset to do something, it's going to take my mindset to change that. But if you're a person from the outside looking in and you're telling me, well, you can't do that, and you don't know anything about me.
Right.
That means that there's something within you that has told you to tell me not to do. Nope, I can't be bothered with you. I'm done with you.
That's right.
I have gotten rid of many people that people say, oh, you don't talk. Nope, don't deal with them. Nope, don't talk to them. Nope, don't have it. Don't have. My spirit is not right for them. I think my spirit has become attuned to tapping me and saying, not them. You know, and I pay attention closely to that spirit. One of the things that you said that I think was profound to me, you said you have to go through it to get to it. Well, how often do we fight not to go through it?
Well, that's the thing.
How often, you know, I mean, really, if someone said to me that I had to go through 8 more years of school to become a doctor, even though that's not as seriously in depth as we've been talking, a lot of people look at it and say, well, I don't want to go through those 8 years. I'm going to go take this quick program over here and do this quick program. I'm not going to go through it to get to it. So when it becomes the more difficult things, how does that set with people that you got to go through this?
Yeah. Well, you know, I tell people we have to go through things. How would you know about pain if you never experienced pain?
Right.
How would you know struggle if you never been through struggle? Or for my example, you know, like I use myself for example, going through the demonic fights. I wouldn't know how to fight without going through it. So these are just things, these are lessons, experiences that we just have to go through. And in turn, it just helps us to grow spiritually, helps the soul to grow. So people look at it as it's a punishment, it's this, but it's a lesson behind everything. You know?
And then on the other end of that is, and get to what? If my reward is not the reward that I'm looking for, you know, I wanted to get through what I had to get through, but did I want the scars?
Well, see, so
you know what I mean? It's leaving me with battle wounds. Do I really want battle wounds?
But see, this is the thing. So, like, people tell me, okay, I fast, I went through this, nothing happened, you know. And I tell them nothing that you could see happen. So things are always happening in the spiritual realms. Things are always adjusting. You know, let's just say, for example, that fast, you know, that helped, and now, you know, you gained more favor. I had a lady that was, you know, she was fasting. She didn't have a job. 4 or 5 months went later. 4 to 5 months went past. She still didn't have a job. Then she connects with a friend, and so they set things up for her to get this wonderful job, right? Working from home. She didn't get a job. So now she's looking at it like, I've been doing all of this fasting and I get dizzy and I get headaches.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened. So I had to explain to her, I said, it didn't happen in your timing, but something
Right,
is back.
right, right.
3 months later, a job that she forgot that she applied for years ago came. It was a job that was paying more. It was a job working from home. Now, that first job was working from home, but then she found out they closed that position. So we go through these things and we gain these wounds or battle, battle marks, whatever you want to call them. But it's different things that's happening in the background. It's a
That we don't even understand. Yeah, that we don't even understand. You're right. You're right. So now your second thing that you said was life is as hard as you make it.
Mhm.
So you're telling me that if I choose,
Mhm.
I can do other things and my life would be different. Is that always so?
Yeah, certainly, because you shape your world, you shape your reality. And I tell people, if it's something that you don't like, then change it. But a lot of the
Mhm.
problems that we run into, most people are looking for a shortcut. You know,
Right, right,
looking for a
right.
shortcut, looking for something quick, looking for something fast. And most of the times it's just not going to be that way, So
Mhm.
you have to go through, certain things. But again, going through these things and just having a positive mind frame, you can change these things. But I just see this happen all the time. I just was heard somebody say the other day, I'm just not smart enough. I just can't do this. I'll always be stuck. And why is God doing this to me? And I have to explain to them, it's not God, it's you.
Right,
Listen to
right,
what I just said. You know.
right,
So yeah, just think about every time you speak and you put these words out, just think of it as being a brick. So all
right.
negative stuff
And
and
you're
that
building, yeah, you're building
walls. Yeah,
a
yeah,
negative
yeah. So
foundation.
right.
Mhm.
So you can you can, I tell people, you can do anything you want. Now, can I sit here and tell you it's gonna be easy? No.
No, no,
But can you
right,
do it? Can you achieve it? Most definitely.
right, right. Well, I want to let people know that you can be reached through your email, thewokeprophet@gmail.com. You also have a website, www.energetichands.com. And we want people to understand that this is not what do they call it? Um social media a social media ploy. This is not a lead into a movie. This is not a lead into television. We're not talking about, the movie adaptation of what life is for a person that's going through these things. That some of these things are real. Some of these things are, unexplainable. Some of
Mhm.
these things are things that, wow, you had a miracle. Well, where do you think the word miracle comes from if you don't have the belief in the faith that there's other things that we don't understand in the
Right.
atmosphere and in the world? So I want people to understand that they can reach out and talk to you. That they can get your book as well, The Prophet. They can get that book online on Amazon, and we want people to know who you are and what you do, simply because if we don't get our mindset right, we're never going to have our ability to extend and to be the best that we can be, because we're held behind different things that are holding us on the forefront. But Felice is having technical difficulties, so she's been flipping in and out. But usually, she asks at the end of each of our shows, she asks our guests one particular question, and I'm going to pose that question to you in her absence. We give to others all the time, and you give a lot, and you put yourself on the line to fight battles that they sometimes can't even see, that they don't even know that they can fight. But you're giving of yourself. And in giving of yourself, sometimes, you know, like they say, if you give too much of your cup, you don't have anything else in your cup. So what can you say? Hang on, Mark. What can you say to our guests that would automatically let them know that you refill your cup? What do you refill your cup with?
What do I refill my cup with?
Yeah, how do you refill your cup?
Well, strangely, my cup is refilled from seeing people deliver. You know, when I'm seeing that I've been working with a person that's just been going through it, that's suicidal, that's have all of these issues, and they've come, you know, but deliverance, and you know, they're feeling good. Their whole life has changed. That's fulfilling to me. So that fills me up to see. So when I'm working with someone and I'm seeing, or when I'm working, like I said, with a young child, 17 months, and it's crawling backwards and can't stand, we go through deliverance, and you know, the child is standing, the child is talking. That fills me up. Also, by just taking just time, you know, sometimes I just take time. I could be in nature, just praying, you know, even though I go through so much. I mean, I'm actually thankful that I'm going through this. This has opened my eyes tremendously, changing my life. I've learned so much. I've gained so much knowledge. And before, I used to always ask myself, if I could do this again, would I do it? And in the beginning, I was a different person. But now, when I ask myself that question, it's most definite. I would do it all over again. So, yeah, you know, just watching others be delivered, healed, you know, and just taking time and just being grateful just for the whole experience. So that is what that fills me. That's fulfilling to me.
Well, at this point, I want to end the show with thanks, and we appreciate you being here. I don't know what happened to your screen. Your screen is now going black. I don't know why. So I'm going to just end the show with saying thank you. We appreciate you being here. They can hear your voice. I'm going to find out what's going on at this point. I don't know if it's on my end or what end it's on, but we're going to
Yeah, because
end.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't even hear me.
No.
Okay. So I'm going to
But
end the recording and thank you for being here. Just stand by for me. Just stand by for me.